Hello there and welcome to this first episode of what I hope will be at least a few episodes of a playthrough through Minecraft Hardcore mode. Now, the machine I'm running this on is not great, so if there is any lag or, as you're seeing here, any kind of reduced resolution, I do apologize, but this is what I'm working with here. So we're just going to start this playthrough. Kind of with a little bit of, I guess a little bit of philosophy maybe. So, hardcore mode, for those that don't know, for those that have never played this game before, maybe those that have played it, didn't really understand what it was about. It's actually a separate game, but it is totally identical to the traditional survival game mode, except that it differs in an important respect. So in typical, bog standard Minecraft survival, there are, did not mean to do that, there are, I believe, 4 different settings. So there is peaceful, easy, medium, hard, or something like that. Basically, it's the difficulty settings, besides peaceful, that you've seen in every single-player game that you've ever played. Right, there's, the easy game mode, which is, offers some kind of challenge and offers monsters that you have to fight, damage that you can take from a variety of sources, but it's very lenient about, how much damage you can actually take before you die, and how many monsters there are to begin with, and so on and so forth. So, a traditional kind of single-player setup. Medium, harder, hard, even harder. But I think anyone who's actually played Minecraft, for the sort of survival portion of the game will agree that even hard is not really hard. Minecraft is not your traditional kind of zombie game where you're facing up against hordes of zombies and feel like totally powerless against them. In Minecraft, it's not about the survival aspect, because surviving really isn't that difficult. Sure, you might get into a tricky situation and maybe you might die. There's always a bed that you'll respawn from. It's not really a setback, honestly, dying. It's just kind of an annoyance. So whether you're playing on easy, medium, or hard, it really doesn't matter. Basically, the game's going to be mostly the same. However, hard mode, or rather hardcore mode, is actually quite a bit different. So Minecraft is all about accumulation. Survival mode is all about sort of, what is this? Hang on. So let me finish this thought. Minecraft is all about accumulation. It's all about building up your hoard of wealth, larger, essentially, to infinity. Let me actually change the, not the language. Let me change the video settings here to change the brightness a little bit. Yeah, that should show up there. So it's all about, starting from nothing. Really nothing, having no items, nothing, just the resources around you, and trying to build, something out of nothing, trying to build, creations and trying to build armor and weapons and all these kind of things, really building a hoard of wealth, sometimes just for the sake of having more wealth, honestly. It's kind of a weird game in that respect, but it is definitely, at the foundation of the whole game, right? This idea of sort of accumulation. So hardcore mode just kind of flies in the face of that, honestly. It is hard mode, so it is traditional Minecraft survival, no changes. It is exactly Minecraft survival locked on hard mode with a catch. And it's this single sort of element that throws the whole thing off. And that is that although the game is identical in every respect to Minecraft survival with hard locked, which is, by the way, something you can do without using hardcore mode. You can't simply lock a difficulty. You can lock hard mode, for example. It is identical, except if you die, you cannot respawn. That is, your death is permanent. So basically, it's almost like a paradox. You talk about a game that, builds its entire sort of ethos around accumulation, about, getting more and more and more, and yet there's this single sort of opportunity to lose it all, right? If you die, if you lose that last heart, you can see my hearts here, there should be 10 of them. You can of course lose half a heart. So in a sense there are 20 half hearts. If I lose all 20 of those, I die. Now you also see a hunger meter here. I can actually rejuvenate hearts, and as the typical rules of hard mode dictate, I will also lose hunger. There are all kind of elements here that come into play, but basically I can do whatever I want in this world. I can take as much damage as I want. I just cannot die. Okay? So very interesting element that really, again, sort of throws a wrench in the works, and really makes for quite an interesting experience, I feel like. So anyway, we're going to try it. It can be quite tricky sometimes because, again, even the stupidest of mistakes, even just falling down a hole that you couldn't see, or mining that last block only to find lava behind it, any of these things will actually spell, well, more than disaster, it will spell the deletion of your world. That is actually how it works. When you die in hardcore mode, you are given the option to either spectate your world, which allows you to fly around sort of unhindered, view kind of the entire world like a ghost, basically, without being able to interact with it, or you can simply delete it permanently. So yeah, let's hope that well, I guess if we die, that there is something at least worthwhile that we've left behind. So I said at the start of this video that I wanted to begin with a little bit of philosophy, and when we talk about this idea of sort of playing games, a lot of it is just kind of haphazard. We just kind of sit down in front of whatever machine and then play the game, and we don't really think about what the goals are, or even if we have some goals in mind, we don't really think about, okay, how best do we sort of theoretically approach this problem. So I'm going to think about this playthrough as a little bit of a puzzle, and we'll see how far I go to that end. But basically what I want to start here with is a little bit of discussion of, okay, what are our goals? And I'm going to outline some simple goals and kind of explain a little bit why I've chosen the goals that I have chosen. And then I'm going to explain sort of how I feel like we're going to need to try and meet those goals. What ways in which, although there are many, many different ways of perhaps meeting those goals, what are some of the sort of the choices that we can make that will help us better meet those goals? So the goals are going to be pretty simple. We're going to start with, basically, I think what most people think about when they play hardcore mode, which is don't die, okay? Now, this is a tricky one because, again, there is no end to this game, and that'll bring me to the second goal in a moment. But Minecraft doesn't end, so when we talk about not dying, we're not talking about not dying during a level, or even not dying during a number of levels, or even not dying throughout an entire game. We're talking about never dying, sort of in the immortal sense of the word, right? Of, existing forever, not just existing for a set period of time and avoiding death during that period of time, but literally existing forever. So you might at this point, okay, the easiest way to do that is to build a little box, put some lights on inside that box. This can take, anywhere from 10 to 5 minutes, or 10 seconds to 5 minutes. But anyway, once you've built a box that fits your parameters, basically you can sit in that box forever, never die, and you will have satisfied that goal. Obviously, that is not what we're going to be doing here. And that brings me to the second goal that we have. The second goal is basically what I feel like is the goal of Minecraft. Minecraft is not your traditional single-player game. It doesn't really have a campaign. It is true you can beat the game. There are, certain sort of things you can do to actually get to an end credits screen, but in the end, it is a sandbox game. It's not really about that. It's not about beating it per se. It is more about the exploration, and above all, it's about accumulation. So our second goal is going to be to accumulate as much as possible. And we're not going to specify exactly what we want to accumulate. There is a general hierarchy of value, and so it makes sense that we want to accumulate more things of value than other things. But I think just that general rule of let's accumulate It makes a lot of sense because it forces us to interact with the world. You know, whether it's digging up with dirt, or rather digging up dirt, or digging up sand, or cobblestone, or something simple like going out and killing some cows. There is there is incentive because of that goal, or there's a requirement for us to actually interact with the world. Okay, this is interesting. The world's actually not rendering perfectly here, so I'm going to tread carefully. Speaking of avoiding danger here. Okay, so last thing I'm going to do here is, very, very carefully, I'm just going to go around here. I'm going to try and extract this cobblestone. The world, for some reason, does not want to render right here. There we go. So I'm just going to go around the edge here, and all I want to do here is just up this, not cobblestone, but coal. So let me mine this coal here. Right, quick, and I should get 4 pieces of coal. That's exactly what I wanted. Oh, is there another cheeky piece for us here? Let's see. Looks like it. And there we go. So 5 pieces of coal. Very nice. Now what we're going to do is quickly build up a little hut for us. All we want here is just something that will let us sit in peace, unbothered. Just down. This is a little bit dangerous, but this is dirt, so I think we're fine. Just dig a few blocks down. So I'm just going to sit here for a little while until the night changes to day, and talk about, okay, so we've laid out our goals. How do we want to accomplish those goals? So this is an interesting philosophical discussion, right? This is an interesting question that we might ask. Okay, so we want to be able to essentially build power, but what we're going to need is we're going to need control, right? If we get power, let's say we get 10 diamonds, and we want to build more power, we need to also have, while we're building that power, we need control. We need control over that power. And control over that power means control over our environment, right? Let me give you the example of someone who wants to see a particular vision of the world asserted on that world, right? So he needs power, but more than power, he needs to be able to control the power that he holds. So he might, for example, seek to become a dictator of a state. And I use state in the general sense of the word, just of some sort of government of civilization, something like that. But once he's dictator, he also wants to establish, or reestablish a constitution that will allow him to stay dictator. And not only himself to stay dictator, but some sort of legacy of his to continue to exist. Because obviously he's not immortal. We might say, okay, he's going to invest in technology that gives him immortality. That would be one way to go about it. But, barring that possibility, he wants to sort of allow some legacy of his to live on in his name. And so he would want children, he would want to groom those children, he would want, an estate with a will, he would want all these kind of, systems put in place to essentially control the power that he's accumulated. And that's exactly what we're going to try and do here, is we're going to try and assert control over this world. What we want to be able to do is, instead of sort of desperately surviving, like you might in a world where many different things can kill you, and if you die, it's all over. Instead of trying to desperately survive, we're going to instead try and assert control over this world. We're going to try and understand it, understand the threats that it poses, and neutralize those threats so that we are essentially invincible. Now, obviously, that's not possible. Invincibility in Minecraft is not something that I don't believe, although the game has changed a lot since I last played it. I don't think it's achievable. But asserting control to minimize the threats is definitely achievable. And, if you just run through a quick list of those threats, things like mobs, zombies, skeletons, creepers, things like lava that we just saw there that can kill you actually quite quickly and effectively. Things like fall damage, you can starve, you can drown, you can actually be crushed. A little bit hard to do that, but it is possible. So there are all these kind of threats, and there are combinations of these threats. One threat, for example, is TNT. The actual detonation can kill you, but it can also push you, and that push can push you into lava or off a cliff. Spiders, they deal damage, but they also push you as well. They kind of knock you back, and so they could knock you back into another spider or into a creeper, or so there are these kind of final destination style combinations that these threats can pose. Where on their own you might say they're not really deadly, or they can definitely be, if not totally negated, they can be mitigated to a point where they're not really worth considering anymore. But what is true is that in combination, in conjunction, they can actually definitely pose a much more significant threat. So what we're going to look to is to try and control the world in such a way that threats that it poses are negated. So all of these threats come from the world. TNT is a block. It's something that exists in the world. It's something that's built in the world. Now TNT we don't really have to worry about. It is something that has to be built, and so it's a little bit artificial in that sense. Mobs come from the world. They're spawned in the world. Lava exists in the world. Fall damage, that's a sort of an effect of the world's construction, of its formation. So we want to form the world in such a way that it is more friendly to us, right? And that means sort of flattening it. That means opening it up so that it's more kind of clear to us what's going on. It means, sort of instead of, focusing in on a sort of a small part of the world, it means saying if we want something from some piece of the world, we want to have a kind of a general understanding of the area around it, right? Because what you don't want to do is focus in on some part of the world and have the other parts of it surprise you. So anyway, these are all just kind of philosophies, principles, things that we may or may not hold fast to. It's definitely a lot harder than just kind of talking about these things, to actually implement measures that will make these things possible. But I think it is interesting to consider these things because there are parallels to the real world and how you want to approach again, in a state, things like this, and a lot of it with sort of forging the environment that you want to be in. Alright, so I think it's about time that we have a look at the outside. It's not exactly the world that we want to walk into yet. We're exactly in that situation that we don't be in right now, right? We're in that situation where we know a lot of information about a kind of a very small part. Well, everything else right now is kind of unknown to us. As soon as we step out of this kind of little hole, we don't know, what's to either side of us, whether there's a creeper or a bunch of skeletons or what. So honestly, it just makes more sense to just sit here for a little while. And now that we're not, sort of talking as much, I'm going to actually take what resources I have and start building a little bit. So the first thing you have to do is build, of course, a crafting table. Crafting tables are simple to build, and then once you've got a crafting table, you can actually start crafting everything. Everything in the game is actually crafted through a crafting table. There are certain things that have to be kind of smelt and this sort of thing, and that's what we're going to do here. So we're going to do some smelting. Specifically, we're going to cook the raw food that we harvested from the sheep and from the cows, and actually just from pigs and sheep. The other thing we're going to do is we're going to throw a couple of these eggs. So I think we're deep enough now, and there shouldn't be, or we're not deep enough yet to actually have any real threats. This is just dirt. This is all very surface level. This should be thick, shouldn't have any real holes in it. So what I want to do here is I just want to throw a couple of eggs and see if we can't spawn a chicken, which we just did. So what we're going to do here is we're going to try and build a fence. I don't actually remember how you build a fence. I think you need sticks. Let's see. All right, let's. We need some sticks anyway. So let me get some sticks here and just kind of experiment. So I think it's something like this. No. Okay. Something like this. All right, that's a gate. That's pretty good. So let me just use my body here to force this chicken into a reasonable place. And then there's a gate. Let's make it a double gate here, just for safety. And we'll talk about controlling our environment. This is sort of the first thing you want to do. Is make sure the things that you have are under control. Okay. So here this chicken should not be able to get out. What I'm going to do is actually build some fence. Don't actually remember how you build fence, which is a little bit weird. I think it might be this way. Yes, okay. So that'll build some fence. And what I just want to do is fence in completely the area around this chicken. Basically just build a... I built some more fence gates. Yeah, it's the inversion of the fence gate recipe, so of course I'm confused. Okay, so anyway, we've got enough wood. We're all right. Let me just yeah, build a few of these. So this is what, 12 pieces of gate. That's pretty reasonable. All right, I'm just gonna cut around this chicken. This chicken is a big chicken. It doesn't actually have to go, and actually it doesn't go anywhere. I don't know what it is about baby chickens. They just kind of sit there. Nope. Speak of the devil. Well, as soon as I say that, he runs off. Anyway, so we're just going to herd him gently with our body back to that little spot, and then we're going to build a fence around him. So he wants to leave. I'm not going to let him. We're also going to run out of fence here. Oh, maybe not. Is that? Well, no, this takes 4 pieces. Okay, the next thing we're going to build is a little bit of, with the rest of the coal here, so we only use 2 of the 5 pieces of coal that we mined. We're going to make some torches, because even though we've got the brightness setting all the way up, it is still very dark here. So I'm going to, this is ridiculous, oh my god. This is, I can tell you, if there's one thing that can never be conquered, it's the fucking animals in this game. They are the most annoying. Look at him. What is he doing? He's in another block. It's just totally fucking ridiculous. Okay, so we're going to build one more set of sticks in the middle, right? Sticks in the middle. One more set of fences. Okay, thank God it got down. For the sake of... Alright, come on. For the sake of closing him in completely. He just needs the one little spot. Even when he grows up, he's going to be small enough that he can sit in one little spot, so we don't have to worry about space. Okay, so this is a reasonable kind of a little enclosure for him. So that's basically one sort of, you know, that's one part of the world captured. So I think we've got, we're on our way. We're on our way. Okay, the other thing we can do is just get out of here, honestly. So you can see that after as much time has passed, we are now in the daytime. So typically what you do in Minecraft is you just basically do a lot of resource mining in the beginning. So we're going to start with a little bit of mining of ores and this kind of thing, and then we're going to go and try and get some other weirder materials. I might actually, I might just start with a little bit of wood, because wood is nice. Okay, so speaking of controlling the environment a little bit, we might look at this and we might say, okay, this is a threat. This is something that we want to deal with. So how do we deal with it? And that question is a little bit difficult to answer, but the best way to deal with lava typically is water. Now, the water is down there and the lava is here. Now, water can be poured downward, it can actually flow downward, it cannot flow upward. The way to actually get it to wherever we want it is to use a bucket, and a bucket requires iron. So what we're going to do here is we're going to give an example of neutralizing a threat by first walking far away from that lava, because you don't want to mine anywhere near lava. It's probably the deadliest thing that you're going to encounter while mining. And we are just going to find a wall here and mine into it. So we're just going to go here, and typically what you want to do when you mine is you want to mine downward. So up near the surface it's just going to be a lot of stone and maybe some cobble, or not cobble, a little bit of coal. But farther down you're going to find the more interesting ores, and specifically we're looking for iron ore. Now iron ore can be smelted down to, of course, iron, And once we've smelted iron, then we can make, with 3 pieces of iron, we can make a bucket. So that's going to be our basic gameplay here. Now, we're being a little bit silly here. We're just kind of mining downwards, not really thinking about what we might come up against, because honestly, there isn't much that we can really come up against. The worst possible scenarios that we mine into an open space, some sort of cavern. There could be mobs in that cavern, but anything that we mine into, we can always just block up. You have to kind of trust the physical barriers around you in Minecraft. And by mining downward, we are actually kind of always surrounding ourselves by, heavy physical barriers. We're surrounded by stone on almost all sides. Really the only opening is from there, and we do have to respect that, and that's why I'm laying some torches down. It is possible for mobs theoretically to spawn here. But if we lay down, and I'm just checking to make sure that we've done a pretty good job, if we lay down enough torches, we should be fine. Okay, so let's keep going here. We've got a little ways to go until we reach anything too interesting. And at this point, you'd probably just want to mine as far downward as possible. To come across a cavern is pretty rare, and typically it just takes kind of finding a pretty arbitrary depth and just kind of mining outward from there. We're just going to mine down. Maybe we might even come across diamonds. So there's always that kind of nice side effect. But you can see we just hit iron ore. Pretty lucky, honestly, but again, this is a reasonable level to be at. So I'm just going to take this opportunity to throw down a torch, and we should actually be breaking this pretty soon, breaking this pickaxe. But actually we managed to get through it. So, alright, we've got enough iron ore. We've got, I think, just, 6 pieces. That's pretty reasonable. We can make a couple of buckets. And basically with buckets, you can just take water or lava, actually, and you can transport it in your hand to wherever you want. So we're going to go back to our little makeshift base. Minecraft is not really, again, you don't really have to be anywhere. You don't have to kind of constrain yourself to any. I'm going to kill these chickens. They've got some meat for us. We managed to get eggs off of them, so we can actually use that if we want to. So this is actually, this is interesting. So this is what we remarked on that I totally forgot about. When you're mining, you should only see stone. You should never see cobblestone. If you do see cobblestone, you know that something is up. Specifically, you know that you've found a dungeon. Now, I don't actually remember how dungeons work. Yeah, okay. So. Fuck. Nope. Okay. Okay, that was very badly done. That was very, very bad. Ay, 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 ay. Fuck. Can I not run? What is this? Am I still being chased? I might just die here. You can see I'm very rusty, actually. Very, very rusty. That was... Wow. Okay, you did not see that. That was terrible. So, the skeleton was moving there, so he kind of lulled me into this false sense of security there. But I was not prepared. So that's a classic example of not controlling your situation. So what I should have done there is I should have been prepared to, of course, block up the entrance. And that was why I was confident actually walking in there, because whatever's in there, I can actually just block up the entrance. But, I don't know exactly what happened there, but my reaction was just totally off. And actually, instead of blocking up the entrance, I just placed one block totally randomly. I think it was on the edge of some. It wasn't even close to blocking up the entrance. But anyway, we actually know where that is now, and we can go back when we want to. We should be back up to full health soon, but what we want to do first is we actually want to use the iron ore to build a couple of buckets. Now, I'm actually going to show you what I'm going to do. I'm going to actually build 2 buckets here. Or just one, actually. We're going to build one. I'll show you how it's done. Oh, and shit! I did forget. You do actually need coal. Shoot. Okay. so that was a mistake, and the sun is already going down. Oh dear. Okay. Okay, let's see. Let's pick up another egg. Get a little bit more food. So, there are other things you can use instead of coal. And one of the things is, of course, just tree trunks. So not wood, but the actual trunks of the tree. So we're going to use that right here. We're just going to grab a few of these. And actually, I think we'll go back into our house. Again, you know, the kind of cost-benefit analysis, don't take risks, right? You need to know your situation. You need to know what you're getting yourself into, and just kind of running blindly into something and hoping it goes well is not a good way to stay. So we're going to grab a few more of these. These actually do not burn anywhere near as efficiently as coal, so we're going to need a lot of them. But it is getting dark, so I'm actually just going to run for it here. Okay. So it should not be dark enough quite yet that there are any mobs. And we're just going to sneak in quite nicely before the mobs come. You can see it actually has not become grown chicken yet. Okay, so let me show you this example of using wood as material. You can see it's much less efficient, but it will get the job done. We actually might burn through a bit of this, but we have some wood anyway. We just need these trunks for the smelting. We're also going to want to cook this raw chicken here, and we're not going to be going out until daybreak again, so we can sit here for a while and yeah, sort of figure out a game plan. So what I want to do here is I want to actually take this iron, make not one but two, or actually maybe one's just fine. Buckets are very reusable, so there's no actual reason to use two of them. So what you can do is you can just right-click with your bucket, and obviously I'm not, actually selecting any water here, but if you've got any water or lava under your cursor, right-click and it will just slurp up the source. I can only get the source actually, but once it gets it, then you will have it. So basically, we're just going to smelt the rest of this, and actually what we're going to do with the rest of it, instead of building another bucket, is we're going to build a pickaxe. Specifically an iron pickaxe, which is quite good to have, and definitely what you want to be using most of the time. Diamond pickaxes are the best, but definitely in the beginning I think we're going to actually be rushing diamond armor instead of diamond tools, because iron tools are very good. They're going to be your bread and butter, at least early on in the game, because iron ore is very plentiful, but it's quite efficient actually to be used, even for armor. But we're going to be going for the diamond armor because, of course, this is hardcore, and so we need to prioritize defense over offense, right? We don't really need to be killing anything, we just need to make sure that we don't die to anything. So, basically we're going to sit here with our chicken, and I'm going to throw in a couple more of these eggs. So what you want to do is aim, shoot. Let me make some space here so I can actually get to a place where I'm not selecting the fence, I'm just launching. Still have it selected. I want to try and launch this egg in. Let's see. How is that possible? That is way too far away to be able to close the fence from. Alright, so I want to be able to launch this. And none of them spawned chickens. Okay, so I was just trying to launch that in. Anyway, we'll use this opportunity to kind of make this a little bit more suspicious. And there isn't, at this level, there's nothing to really actually fear. It's all just going to be dirt, maybe a little bit of gravel, some stone maybe. We don't want to look in the other direction, in the direction of this coop, because of course the lava is somewhere in that direction. I don't know exactly where, so just avoid that. But basically, anywhere around here should be perfectly fine. Oh, one other thing to note, when you see these blocks, you know that there's actually only an air block, or in this case, an air block and then a little bit of grass above it. There is not another block on top of it, because, of course, grass blocks are dirt blocks that just have grass on them. As soon as you put another block on a grass block, it becomes a dirt block pretty quickly. So we know that there's not another block on this block, for example. So we can actually find the perimeters, the natural perimeters of this little dig out. just keep digging. And we're just giving ourselves some space to be able to walk around and just, so it's not so claustrophobic. Oh no, actually. Okay. So we're just kind of finding the natural perimeter here. We could build a shovel, but honestly we've got all the time in the world, to be quite honest. This is not something that we have to do very quickly. So I'm just throwing down some torches, being a little bit conservative, definitely. Whenever there's a dark patch, mobs can actually spawn in it. You typically won't spawn unless you're some distance away from that patch. So it's definitely something to worry about when you're mining. If you mine down a dark path and then walk back along the path, a mob very well may have already spawned, and now you're walking straight into their path. So there is that to consider. But otherwise, torches are usually not very necessary. You just want to keep the area lighted up. Just even if it seems like an impossibility, it's better to be safe than sorry. So anyway, that's the rest of the chicken, and there isn't actually anything more that we can smelt. We've got all the iron, we've got our iron pickaxe, we've got our bucket, we've got our mutton, chicken, and a little pork chop left. So we're in a good position, honestly. And we might just take this opportunity to sit around for a little. We're going to go here and check. Yeah, it is still night. So again, when I kind of poke my head out, and I am taking a risk, but always the way I like to think is, what is your exit strategy? It's not so much a question of what situations you get yourself into as how have you considered that you can extricate yourself from those situations. It's whenever you're in a situation where you just break a block, just place that block again. It is true, mobs get in the way and kind of block your path. There can be missed, sort of happen. But if it's just a question of one block, there is not usually much that can go wrong. So that's basically the simple way to think about it. So here we're going to look at this chicken, and notice that it is not grown yet. Don't know what it's about. I think honestly it's because we're spending too much time in here. He actually can't grow. He is, he's got some stage fright or something. So what we're going to do is just kind of chill out here, look at the inventory, and see what we actually can maybe do with some of this stuff. So what we're going to be doing, when we talked about kind of crafting our environment, we're going to be spending a lot of time in enclosed spaces because those are the spaces that can be controlled the most effectively. If you just have a wide open space, it is true, if it's well lighted, if you can see in kind of all directions, you're pretty safe. But the time that it actually takes to really terraform a space and make sure there are no nooks and crannies, everything is flat and open and well lit, it's pretty tremendous. Whereas you can see that we've already put ourselves in quite reasonable security, reasonable comfort, honestly, and and not in any time at all. And that's simply because we've enclosed ourselves. And so one of the things that you want to do with your enclosed spaces is you want to make them as sufficient as possible. So instead of having an enclosed space that you just sort of sit in for a little while and then inevitably leave, you want to make sure that there is as much in this closed space as possible so that you only have to leave for very specific tasks, for mining, for these kind of things. You don't want to be sort of desperately trying to get these sort of resources and exposing yourself to the outside world in the process. And one of the things that we can do here, perhaps not in this space, but definitely in another, is build saplings. So we can actually build little forests in totally enclosed spaces, and they will grow. We can build windows so that we can actually see, instead of having to break a block like this, we can actually see, through the windows what the outside world looks like. And there are a lot of other things we can do. We can do things with water. We could build water reservoirs, build cobblestone generators even with water and lava. I'll maybe show you how water and lava interact to make cobblestone. So there are lots and lots of things that we can actually do to really make ourselves self-sufficient within that enclosed space, within our safe space. That's going to be where we want to be. We just want to expand that safe space as large and as tall and as wide as possible. So it is about daybreak. Just looking over here, we can see that honestly, we're probably fine to exit. I'm going to have to sort out, but yeah. So the first thing you want to do when you're entering a new space is try and get a feel for it. You know, you may think you're safe because you look at the sun and it looks fine, but honestly, you don't really know until you've actually tried, you know, and taken a look. There could have been spiders here. There could have been any number of things like creepers, even skeletons and zombies hiding in plain sight. So, you know, it's best just to kind of take a look. Okay, so this is one side of the cobblestone temple. Should be a little ways down here, isn't it? Or am I thinking of a different place that I mined down to? I think I might actually be thinking of a different place. Yeah, because this is the iron ore. I do remember though seeing when we mined down, I don't think we mined down far, because right, we actually found that opening that was just, I mean, it was a little ways down, but it was really just kind of open to the world. So what I'm going to do here is I am going to see if I can't find that little place. Oh, that is right. I actually want to do something else. So I want to grab this water, and I'm going to take this to the lava, or take it to, really, whichever we find first. So take it to the lava, or do we see, I think I'm just going in circles. It was very close by, I do remember that. It was very, very close by. Alright, we want to be careful here. The rendering again is slowing down, so just make sure that we're not putting our foot down anywhere that we can't pick it up again from. So I don't see exactly where. I think it was right in plain sight. It was right there. There was a little kind of indent. Oh, is this it? I don't remember this forest. I do remember the trees, maybe. I mean, it was nearby, so I guess I'll put this as. Is this it? No. It was somewhere around here, somewhere around this cliff. You know where this cliff just kind of drops off? It was a similar sort of situation where there was a real kind of, not a hole in the ground, but definitely a place where I'm seeing shadows and thinking that that's the opening. Okay, so let's try and climb around this mountain a little bit, because I feel like that's a good sort of landmark. The forests are so dense around here. That's another thing we're going to want to do. We're going to want to get some flint and steel, which is something else you build with iron. But basically, that'll allow us to, well, honestly, an axe will work in the beginning. Here it is. Okay. Okay, so we've got our torches. So, okay, game plan. Torches, sword. Okay, these are the most important things to have. And then water. So I'm going to show you a tricky little thing you can do here. And that is, pour the water down and lock it on that one end. And this will force, alright, maybe it'll actually force me into the water. Let's put some of these down, and then, fuck. That'll force the skeleton to contend with the water, which means that he cannot really run at me. Okay, so actually there are very, very many skeletons there. But they can actually not really run at me. So I'm safe here, honestly. They cannot run at me in any kind of efficient way. So what I want to do here is I want to light this place up as much as possible. So I'm going to place something on the ceiling here, see if I can get, honestly, we don't have that many torches, so let me not, and it looks like we've already, hey, okay, that's what we needed. So this is a perfect torch there. Holy goddamn, okay, well, I managed to get them to fight each other, which is pretty good. If we can get those skeletons to deal, honestly, we're probably pretty safe. So I'm just going to go here, and, oh, let's see, how many are there? How many are there? I don't feel super confident going in, so I'm actually going to lock this up. Let's see if I can't get kind of a little side entrance going. So we're going to build here. We want to make sure not to break the actual entrance. So I'm gonna come in here, see if I can't get a cheeky attack going. So if I build down here a little bit, I can attack his feet, but not from that distance. Okay, so I wanna open this place up as much to the rest of the world as possible, because torches are fine. But honestly, the best way to stop this kind of thing is just to open it up. But we want to do that in a safe way, and that's why I'm building this dirt here. Once the skeleton's dead, basically he can't do anything. Or basically they can't respawn. So I'm going to get some more torches here quickly. The skeleton should be safe. The water was a very smart idea. They shouldn't be actually able to spawn in water itself, and when they're in the water, they're just going to kind of swim. It's going to be very hard for them to get out. It's not impossible if they really see you and kind of swim through you, through the water towards you. You know, it is possible, but it takes them a while, and they really have to be committed. So let me just grab a little bit of this coal. This is actually a great coal pocket here, right in the mountain. The nice thing about coal is that where there's some coal, there's usually a lot of coal. That's one of the nice things. It's one of the most plentiful ores, which makes sense because it's definitely one of the most least interesting with the ores. It's one of those things you're just going to have a tremendous amount of, and not really going to want all that much of it, honestly, at a certain point. So, let's see. Okay, so I'm just being careful. I actually want him. Fuck. Okay, that is a door. And I didn't think there was going to be, honestly, much to really fight about there. And there wasn't. So what we want to do here is we want to take this and we want to build around it a little sort of river. And they cannot spawn in the water, so as long as basically all the blocks where they can possibly spawn are underwater, we're safe. So let's see what we've got here. A lot of wheat. Wheat is for making bread. There might be some other things we can do with wheat. Basically, we're just going to take all this. Discs, actually pretty cool. Discs can be played by record players, and they actually have some very nice sounds here. C418 actually did the soundtrack to Minecraft. Pretty iconic soundtrack. He did all of the discs as well, so there's kind of a nice sound to all of them. Alright, I'm just going to break this, honestly. There's nothing much left in here, just some sort of rubble, and we're going to check the other chest. So this is a good loot so far. Let's see if we can't take it one step further. I did not want to place that. Okay, so interesting. Some diamond horse armor. I think that's actually pretty difficult to get. Golden apple. This could be a lifesaver. Gunpowder. That's something you can make TNT with. A few other things you can do with gunpowder, but TNT is actually an interesting little thing to play around with. It's probably not something we should be touching, but I think we might just do it anyway. Melon seeds and pumpkin seeds. Pumpkin seeds are literally useless. They're nice cosmetically though, and they're kind of hard to get. So let me let's see. We can throw away the saplings. Moss stone is nice cosmetically. Yeah, this diorite is unnecessary. Did it not flow down here? What is that? Oh, what's it doing there? It's weird that there's no flow here. I think it's because these two flows are competing. And oh, there is a flow. It's actually it's the other direction. That is very interesting. The flow of water is something that's endlessly interesting, actually, in terms of how it behaves. What? Okay, there we go. Finally. Jeez. Okay, so throw that out of there. We can pick up the pumpkin seeds. Pick up this. Bones are good for bone meal. and the rest of it is of no interest. So, let's go here and see if we can't mine the rest of this cobblestone. We just want to mine this area completely out. Light it up as much as possible. The classic way to do this is just actually build torches around all of this. I honestly do not know what this water is doing. It is flowing very weirdly. I don't know if this has to do with the monster spawner itself is making the water flow strangely, but okay, so finally the water actually did something reasonable there. That's very strange how it's actually flowing. So let me go here and try and tear up some of this floor. Okay, we just kind of want to surround this in water. Honestly, what I might do, if it weren't so important to keep torches around it, I might just put the flow of water on it. Let's actually do that. Okay, that's actually more reasonable. And then torches all around, just for good measure. Again, these are very dangerous. You saw how many skeletons were there. It can get very insane. You can get a real infestation because they do actually just spawn periodically. Now, you might say, well, why in the world do we not just destroy it? Well, these are actually very, very useful because what you can do with them is, again, when you stand near, they will just spawn skeletons. And skeletons can be farmed, just like chickens can be farmed, just like anything can be farmed in Minecraft or most anything. Basically what you can do is you can create these sort of what are called monster spawner farms, or XP farms typically, because the main thing that we actually want to get from skeletons is, well, there are a few things they can drop. They can drop arrows, which are nice. They can drop bone, and that's basically it. But the big things that you actually want from skeletons are their XP. So every XP drop comes from actually killing a skeleton or other mob. There are a few other things that will give you XP, like actually mining it. Ores give you XP. For some reason I thought that was iron ore. Let me actually just go through and grab some of this stuff. Oh, I actually can't grab it because it's ridiculous. I'm so full. I need a chest. Alright, let's see. Let's throw... Feathers probably aren't necessary. Let's go with this. See if we don't pick up the iron ore. Good lord. Let's see, is there any... There should be a pocket of air here. This is actually very silly. I am being buffeted by this water in a very stupid way. So actually, do we have any iron ore? What happened here? Okay, so it went this way. So what we're going to do, we're going to grab it from here. And what was it that we didn't want? Okay, okay. Now we should be able to grab this iron ore. For some reason I thought there was more iron ore than there actually was. Okay, then we want to get out of here. Actually get out of here. Now, again, talk about situations you don't want to be in. We should not have taken that long. So, let me just... Oh, God damn it. Just see if I can't extricate myself from here. I don't actually really know where I am. And it's time to run. And it's time to run. Oh my god, it's time to run. Good lord. This is exactly what you want to avoid. Why am I not just running? Oh, damn it. Alright, we're gonna build up. Should not have walked out there. Skeletons in hard mode are actually quite tricky to deal with. They deal a lot of damage at range. They're great marksmen. Their aim is actually a little bit too good, in my opinion. Alright, we're going to try and travel. We're holding shift down here. There's not actually any way for us to fall. If we did, we'd die. But we should be fine here, so I'm just going across a little. Let's see. Alright. We did not grab the water. If we grabbed the water, we could have used an elevator to go down. Anyway, at the very least, we got the infestation dealt with. All that we were dealing with right there was just typical hard mode of mobs when the lights go out. Okay, we're going to use cobblestone here because, oh, never mind, we've got more dirt. Cobblestone is really pretty worthless. It's not nice, honestly, to look at. And, you know, you get so much in mining. It's, you know, it's strange. So you're not looking for cobblestone when you mine, but it's primarily what you pick up, because obviously to reveal the other ores, you have to actually destroy whatever's surrounding, which is cobblestone. Almost always. Sometimes it's some other things. Okay, so we are now directly above our little encampment. We just did a little sort of disgusting elevator here. Unfortunately, there's no good way to get down from here, I don't think. Yeah, I think I'm right in that. There is no good way to do that. One of the things I'm going to do is very carefully walk back along this path, and while there are still no monsters that have spawned on here, just make sure that no monsters ever do. The last thing you want is monsters spawn above you. That is a terrifying prospect. And so, eliminate it. Have we already run out of torches again? Okay, to be fair, we didn't build that many in the first place. So let me go back here and build a few more torches. And then I think I might put an end to this video. Just because basically set out to do what we want to do. And we've got another long night. So being a little bit silly here, I'm going to run short, a little bit of crouching. You don't want to be silly. Obviously, you could probably just walk along here, but drop me. What I might do here is cheeky drop onto the, just to kind of get us out of the danger. Alright, what we're going to do is we're going to drop onto the tops of these trees here. They don't look to be that far away from where I am now. Actually, they look a little bit farther now that I look at them. Alright, let's see how this works. So before we drop, we want to survey the area. You can see nothing spawned here yet. This looks pretty safe. I'm just going to drop damage. Treetops, oddly enough, I think there's something about the height that actually means that mobs don't really spawn there. And so, let's close up. Okay. And nice place to end the video. Chicken has finally grown, and it has laid its first egg, which is really nice. So, collect that egg. Open this and step back. Where was it that yeah, somewhere here. If I just aim in the right place, oh my god, did that spawn on the outside? That spawned on the outside. Alright, chickens actually like wheat. I think that's the thing they like. Isn't it? Do they not like wheat? Okay, this one likes wheat, and he took damage there. Okay, honestly, let's just... this place is enclosed. Let them roam. This is ridiculous. Trying to keep them in that small little place is impossible. Alright, hope you enjoyed this video, and yeah, I'm going to cut it short here and continue this series in a later episode. Hope you enjoyed, and thanks for watching.